In today's video, we'll be looking at crazy TikTok facts that will leave you speechless.
Here are things that you never knew what they were really used for. The blue bristles on your toothbrush tell you when you need to change them. If they start to fade away, then you know it's time.
I never knew.
The hole in pot handles. Most people use it to hang pots and pans, but it can also be used to hold spoons when you're cooking so you don't make a mess. The metal tips of a tape measure let you anchor it into a nail or a screw. Next, the hole in pen caps. The hole is there to allow airflow, so if a little kid swallows it, they won't choke. And these shoe holes on Converse are not for ventilation. They're actually lace holes for extra support.
Whoa.
Or if your shoelaces get too long.
Incredible things people found hidden in their homes. Samantha Hartsoe knew something was lurking behind her mirror when she felt a strong cold flow of air coming from behind it. So one day she pulled the mirror off the wall and discovered there was no wall behind it.
Oh, she
that
got a whole
explains why
apartment
she
back
felt
there.
cold air, but where was it coming from? She got a hammer to protect herself with and went in, and what she found sent shivers down her spine. Before I tell you, do you want to get paid to literally just walk? I found an app that pays you for every step you take, and you're already walking 10,000 steps, so you may as well get paid.
Walk.
Click here on my profile if you want to get paid too.
Click
She
there,
found
guys.
an entire apartment on the other side that had water bottles, garbage bags, and random junk all over the place. Thankfully, nobody was there, but she did find that the front door to the empty apartment was unlocked. So she made sure to lock it before rushing back to her apartment to tell her landlord about her discovery.
People were probably creeping on her.
With your perception of time. To give some perspective on what it was like to be alive on Earth over the last 100 years, here are some of the inventions that were created after Betty White was born. Cotton swabs, modern traffic lights, the bulldozer, the cheeseburger, sunglasses, frozen foods, the tampon, the jukebox, masking tape, the pop-up toaster, the pressure washer, the recliner, ice cube trays, bubble gum, the bow tie, the electric razor, and penicillin. Follow for more.
We now actually know what happens when we die. What the hell? This is actually groundbreaking, and scientists say this is the stuff they live for, and this definitely doesn't happen every day. So for a long time, scientists have been analysing brain activity after death, in that strange 7 or 8 minutes from when you die to when your brain actually shuts off and you're completely dead. There's been claims before, people saying your life flashed before your eyes, people that have died and then came back to life, so you know it was possible. But we may actually have an answer, and it's probably not what you're thinking. So scientists were analysing an 87-year-old patient who had suddenly developed epilepsy when he tragically died of a cardiac arrest while there. Obviously, they were hooked up to these machines, meaning they could see all the brain activity, and what they found was absolutely mental. In the 30 seconds after he died, there was still brain activity, and the brain waves followed the same form as dreaming or recalling memories. Like, exactly the same pattern, which is mental because he was dead. Meaning this could prove that life does actually flash before your eyes when you die.
The most insane movie stunts ever done.
Didn't know.
In the movie Who Am I?, Jackie Chan slides down a skyscraper. And he did this with zero safety equipment, no nets, no wires, just him sliding down 30 stories of glass. When he reached the end of the glass, he almost fell to his death, but was able to save himself at the very last second. He was able to walk away with just a broken ankle, and this was announced the most dangerous stunt ever done by an actor. In Mission Impossible Fallout, Tom Cruise performs a halo jump, which is only performed by military special forces because of how dangerous it is. Performing a halo jump on camera is extremely dangerous because you are over 25,000 feet in the air with very little oxygen. He flew at a speed of 180 miles per hour and had to stop perfectly 3 feet from the camera, or else there would be a mid-air collision which would be deadly. Tom Cruise practiced for over a year, and the crew even had to develop a special helmet for the stunt.
Top 3 animals you didn't know existed. Number 3, and I'm not sure you even wanted to know this thing existed because of how uniquely unpleasant they are to the eye. The Klugo would be sure to give you nightmares if one day you woke up and it was being an ugly demon spawn anywhere within 100 miles of you.
I do not want to see one of those.
2 existing animals, freaking Mitch McConnell and Rudy Giuliani, and its next closest relatives are primates. So not a bad.
Look at that thing climbing up the tree.
In the world, but sadly, they're also the best at being a freak of nature, but somehow kind of cute like Momo. Number 2, what do you get when you cross a capybara and a kangaroo? The Patagonia mara, which I guess takes from his dad since he's a rodent. Most people say they're rabbit-like, and I don't know what the biologists are smoking, but that's a recently single capybara who's been working out and dyeing their hair. And I don't know about you, but in my state, it's legal to own one, and about 20 times cheaper than a puppyland puppy. So I'm low-key, oh my god, there's a disabled one.
So a rabbit
he's
kangaroo?
So ugly, his name is actually the big-headed mole rat. Like, that's just rude. But yeah, he's all those. The way his eyes sit on top of his head is just not right. It took me like 3 minutes to even notice he had eyes up there. I'm sorry, but this dude is just really ugly.
Yeah, I've never seen any of those.
Suspects were unaware a camera was recording their conversation. A Florida Highway Patrol officer said he caught two gentlemen speeding at almost 130 miles per hour. It happened on a Saturday night, and both of the drivers said they were fasting that day, so were speeding to get home to eat. One of them had a white Audi RS5 and the other a red Mustang GT. They're 23 and 22 years old, and they didn't realize that a camera was recording them when they were in the back of the police car.
I've never been in a cop car. BBC News. Abraham and Mo were caught racing on the Causeway Street.
Comforting facts that will make your day. I was watching Glass Onion where the billionaire invests in a fictitious hydrogen-based fuel of the future. I didn't really know anything about hydrogen fuel, but then I did some research and I found it is actually a safe alternative that could help climate change. Hydrogen can be matched with a fuel cell to create and store electricity with no planet-warming emissions. Hydrogen fuel can be safely burned in special engines to make heat for factories. It'll most firstly be used in buses and cargo ships, planes, etc. The main issue is it's still very expensive and takes a lot of space to store, but we are on the right path to make it sustainable. Just a reminder that humans are doing cool things for the future. Follow for more.
This 12-year-old's quick thinking is the only reason him and his two siblings are alive today. This is Timmy Miles, and in 2011, his mom took him and his two siblings to an isolated area of Zabola County, New Mexico. She then forced all of them to take a huge amount of pills before taking the medication herself, and after a few minutes, they were all unconscious. But the car they were in was still running, and after a few hours, it caught fire. Timmy woke up before the fire spread throughout the vehicle, but his attempt to extinguish it was unsuccessful. Thinking quickly, Timmy pulled everyone out of the car. He and his siblings suffered first-degree burns and smoke inhalation, but they did survive. The mother did die, however. But this is when the story gets even crazier. Since it was absolutely freezing outside, the kids had to crawl back into the car after it stopped burning to stay warm throughout the night. And when the sun rose the next day, they hiked to safety.
This is the amazing
Shout out to
moment
Timmy
a
for
teen
real.
with no limbs performs an incredible dance routine. Gabe Adams was born without arms or legs, but hasn't let that stop him from becoming an excellent dancer.
Breakdancing like crazy though.
The 17-year-old began teaching himself to dance when he was just 12 years old. But he said he kept it a secret. He said he started dancing to prove to himself and others that he was more than just a kid in a wheelchair. Everyone says he worked super hard to earn himself a spot on the high school dance team. And the video you've been watching the whole time went viral, with people saying they feel proud for him and that they make them believe anything is possible.
Brian Coburger, the suspect in the Idaho murder case, went to court today, and here is what happened. So the Idaho murder case where, of course, the 4 teens were tragically unalived in their university accommodation. And of course we know now that it is extremely likely that it was this man, 28-year-old Brian Coburger, who was actually a criminology student and knew the teens. Before I say about the court case, just look at this quick. I know this doesn't have any relevance to do with the case or whatever, but look how similar he looks to Ted Bundy. What the hell? Of course, we know he was studying criminology. Scary in relevance to the case. He also actually applied for an internship with the police force. Imagine he became a police officer. What? But today in the room, a lot of people online are saying he didn't look very worried, so maybe he didn't do it. I mean, he looks pretty damn worried to me. And what happened is the judge said that he will be tried. If he is actually found guilty, the penalty he will get will either be death.
Talking about he don't look
life.
worried.
Of course, hit that follow button and I'll keep you updated.
This man has the craziest life story ever. His name is Dion Rich, and he is the definition of faking it until you make it.
You know what? It'd be cool if my last name was Rich. Everywhere you go, how's it going, Mr. Rich? Hey, it's Mr. Rich. Yo, Mr. Rich. That'd just be a cool last name to have.
Rich was born in 1929 and passed away just a few months ago. But during his lifetime, he became famous for his ridiculously good ability to sneak into huge events such as Academy Award shows, celebrity parties, and even Super Bowls. Rich was a very fast and good talker, meaning
see what you can do when your last name is Rich? You go into Super Bowl, celebrity parties.
That he could get pretty much whatever he wanted from people. And he figured out that he could use this skill to attend the Oscars and get into parties at the Playboy Mansion. But most notably, Rich loved to sneak into Super Bowls. It all started at the first Super Bowl in 1967 between the Packers and the Chiefs. Rich figured out where the Chiefs team was entering the stadium and put on a team jacket and walked right in with them. And from that point on, he was hooked. At the end of his life, Dion Rich had successfully snuck into 35 different Super Bowls without paying $1. and he even made it onto the field at 22 of those games.
What?
The NFL eventually began to notice that there were pictures of him at every single Super Bowl, and so they launched an investigation in an attempt to stop him from sneaking into their games. And in 1978 at Super Bowl 12 between the Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos, Rich somehow talked his way into riding to the game with the Denver Broncos team and stood on the sidelines with them all game long.
He got to ride along?
But
Yo,
towards
this
the
dude
end of
crazy.
the game, when it appeared that the Dallas Cowboys would win, he snuck over to their sideline and celebrated with the team, which
Yo, he an
resulted
all-time
in this
scammer.
iconic photo of Dion carrying the Dallas Cowboys as head coach after the win. He truly was the most interesting man in the world.
Right now, a single
Man, he
hacker
got
sitting in
skills.
a basement somewhere could cause a full-out nuclear war leading to destruction and loss of life on an unprecedented scale. A hack of a nuclear weapons system could trigger a false alarm, making us think that an enemy's nuclear weapons are on their way. And under current US protocols, the president would have just minutes to decide whether or not to launch a retaliatory strike and start a full-blown nuclear war. The US government has found that these systems are vulnerable to cyber attacks, and the US is not prepared to defend against them. And this is not just a theory.
It's like these videos, right? They're telling us the U.S. is not prepared to defend against a cyber attack. So, if you want to, you know, hack us, go ahead, because we're not ready.
Theoretical threat. In 2020, Russian military intelligence hacked into a US IT company and hid malware in a software update that was distributed to government agencies like the Department of Homeland Security. The only way for humanity to ensure a future is to work towards the eventual elimination of nuclear weapons entirely. By raising awareness about the dangers of #HackedNukes, we can help to build public pressure on elected officials to take action and protect us all from this grave threat.
Man, nukes ain't going nowhere.
Are all dead. I know exactly what you're thinking. Matt, what the hell are you on about? We're not dead. I'm literally standing here right now. Just listen to this. So there's been...
Yo, that's been kind of on my mind a lot lately, you know. What if we all were what he just said? You know? Just think about that, right? Imagine if everything that we're doing, every moment that we're living, we see it as a certain fraction of time, but it's just a flash of light. And that's the light that flashes before our eyes when we supposedly, what do they say on here? Are unalived. You know what I'm saying?
One theory for a while, which is your life flashes before your eyes when you die, okay? Now you can check one of my previous videos for a full in-depth video on this. Basically, scientists were following an 87-year-old patient's brain form when he suddenly died of a heart attack, and in the 30 seconds after he was actually declared dead, his brain activity was still there on the monitor, and it was following the exact same patterns as to that of dreaming and recalling memories, meaning that it could prove the fact that life does actually flash before your eyes. Now, why are we all dead? Now in that, from 30 seconds to 5 minutes after you die, time would feel a lot longer, and this has been said by patients who have died and come back to life. And it's also the same as dreaming. When we dream, it's only been about 20 seconds, but it actually feels like hours or days sometimes. So here's the theory, and I'm not saying I believe it, it's just a theory that lots of people believe, and I'm putting it out there. The theory is, we are all actually dead right now, in that 30 seconds to 10 minutes, re-watching our lives. Our lives are flashing before our eyes, and we're recalling the memories that we had through our whole lives, and it feels like we're actually living it because it's so elongated, but it's probably only been about 20 seconds. I mean, weird. Something to think about. But scientists are finding a lot of new evidence on what happens after death, so I mean, hit that follow button and I'll keep you updated.
I mean, one issue that I would have with that is how everybody would be experiencing that same flash of light at the same time. It's like we'd have to have a huge collective consciousness for us all to be unalived and still be living in this simulation, I should say.
Secret messages hidden in popular logos. Most people think the Hyundai logo is just an H, but it actually represents two people shaking hands. One is a salesperson, and the other is a satisfied customer.
Didn't know
the
that.
Tostitos logo looks
That's
normal
two
at
people.
first, but if you look closer,
That's two
you can
people.
see the two T's are actually people dipping a chip into the bowl of
Yeah.
salsa over the eye. You can clearly see two chocolates in the Hershey Kisses logo, but if you turn it sideways, you can actually see a third one in between the K and the I. You
Oh,
probably noticed
did not
the
know
arrow
that.
in the Amazon logo pointing from the A to the Z, and it's not just a smile. It represents the wide variety of items you can find,
A
and that you can
to
buy
Z.
anything from A to Z. You may think the Beats logo is just a lowercase b, but the red circle is really a human head, and the B is the headphones that they're wearing.
Oh,
Most
I did
common
not
baby
know that
names
one.
Now versus 100 years ago. Last year, the top baby names were, for boys, Theodore, Henry, Lucas, Benjamin, William, James, Elijah, Oliver, Noah, and number 1.
Just so y'all know, your boy is number 5 right there. James.
Liam. For girls, it was Harper, Evelyn, Mia, Isabella, Sophia, Ava, Amelia, Charlotte, Emma, and number 1, Olivia. And as for 1921, 100 years prior, the most popular baby names for boys: Donald, Edward, Richard, Joseph, George, Charles, William, James, John, and number 1, Robert. For girls, Francis.
Hey, your boy only dropped 2 places in 100 years.
Mildred, Doris, Virginia, Ruth, Margaret, Betty, Helen, Dorothy, and Mary. So as we can see, only 2 names have stayed in the top 10 for the past 100 years. Weirdly, James, which is a bottom tier name, and William, a top tier name. But who knows? Names usually happen in waves of popularity. Maybe we'll start seeing Doris, Mildreds, and Betty babies walking around sometime soon.
Betty babies.
Here are 4 images that confuse the entire world. This house looks like it's falling over, but it's actually level. This is just how steep some of the hills are in San Francisco. This dog appears to have crazy sharp-like teeth, but it's actually just the fence behind it. You probably thought that these cars were disappearing, right?
Yes.
Well, it's actually not a bridge. It's just a rooftop of a building. And this is the confusing dress. Some people see black and blue, and others see white and gold. Now comment what you see.
This personal trainer gained 60 pounds to help his client lose weight. This is JJ Peterson, and he's always kept in incredible shape. But when he took on the task of helping a contestant lose weight on TV, he did something crazy. Peter actually made himself gain 60 pounds so he would know what his contestant was going through. The contestant was 389-pound Ray Stewart. It took Peterson over 4 months to gain this weight, and then they began their fitness journey. And this is what they both look like now. This dog refused to leave his owner's side in the emergency room. This heartwarming video was taken in Peru back in 2016. A man had fallen in his house and hit his head, so an ambulance was called. But as he was placed on the stretcher and taken to the hospital, his 2 dogs followed. They actually jumped into the ambulance with him and wouldn't leave his side. And as he laid down before receiving any treatment, his dogs laid in the bed with him. Many people have praised the medical team for allowing the dogs to come in the ambulance and stay by his side. And this video shows just how truly they are man's best friend.
The Ukraine-Russia war just got even more insane. Firstly, Elon Musk just challenged Vladimir Putin to a 1v1 fight to end the war. He says he's absolutely serious and that he would win the fight in 10 seconds. Next, this woman just became an absolute legend. She crashed a Russian news channel and held a sign that says "Stop the war, they're lying to you." But she's now been arrested and faces 15 years in prison.
I bet she does.
Inventions that should exist everywhere. First, movie theaters in Switzerland have installed screens on the bathroom floor so that you don't even miss a second of your movie.
Oh, wow.
Next, the Let's Pizza vending machine is the only machine in the world that can prepare fresh pizza in under a minute. This is the Scribble Pen. It can recognize and
I don't want no minute pizza. I'm just saying, I might as well just throw something in the microwave if that's the case.
Replicate any color that you choose. Just scan any object and start drawing. An RGB color scanner copies the colors of real objects, and a smart pump creates the colored ink inside of the pen. There's a mall that lets you leave your dog in a safe spot while you shop. The doghouse has a security system so that only you can open it, as well as lighting and air conditioning.
Cancer may have actually just been cured. This is groundbreaking and would make such a difference. So there are 18 patients suffering from colorectal cancer, and scientists have been working on this new drug called Dostalimba, a drug with laboratory-produced molecules that actually act as substitute antibodies in the human body. Now they tried this on all these 18 patients, this is a few of them here, and there was a not 50% success rate, not 70%, not 80, not even 90, but 100% success rate.
Guaranteed.
Every single one of these patients suffering from this type of cancer was cured, which is crazy. Now scientists are of course baffled by this, and it is unbelievably good news, because this is a breakthrough in not only this type of cancer, but could help with every other type of cancer as well. This is amazing, so hit that follow button and I'll keep you updated.
Yo, not gonna lie guys, some of these TikTok facts actually had me speechless today. I did not know what to say. But yeah, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and until next time YouTube, peace.